Imagine a world where Donald Trump returns to the White House. How would that impact Europe, a continent already grappling with economic uncertainty, political division, and a complex geopolitical landscape? Would the countries of Europe thrive or crumble under the weight of Trump's policies? In this video, we'll explore a hypothetical scenario, one that could reshape global politics as we know it. The collapse of European nations if Trump once again holds the reins of power in the United States. Brace yourselves because we're diving into an intense and speculative journey.
We will make America great again.
Famous person in the world by far. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. He said, who's more famous? I said, Jesus Christ.
ATO. Time and again, he criticized European nations, particularly Germany and France, for not meeting the defense spending threshold of 2% of GDP. Trump saw this as an unfair burden on the U.S., which footed a large portion of NATO's defense bill. He didn't hesitate to call Europe freeloaders, and even threatened to pull the U.S. out of NATO.
But how can you be together when a country is getting its energy from the person you want protection against or from the group that you want protection?
Because you understand that when we stand together, also when dealing with Russia, we are stronger. I think what we have seen is that...
No, you're just making Russia richer.
Now let's consider what would happen if Trump follows through on that threat. A U.S. withdrawal from NATO would leave Europe vulnerable, especially its eastern flank. Countries like Poland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, already wary of Russian aggression, could face heightened security risks. Without the guarantee of U.S. military protection, would these countries fall under the shadow of Moscow? Would we witness a shift in the balance of power in Europe, where former Soviet territories once again find themselves within Russia's sphere of influence? The implications could be far-reaching. NATO, already weakened by internal divisions, might unravel completely. Europe, for decades dependent on American military might, would be forced to rapidly increase defense spending and restructure its military alliances, perhaps even reconsidering its relationship with rising powers like China or Turkey. Could Europe afford such a dramatic shift, both politically and financially?
It's official. Donald Trump has been elected president of...
Beyond military alliances, Trump's protectionist policies during his first term had a profound impact on Europe's economy. His administration waged a trade war not only with China, but also with key European allies, imposing tariffs on products such as steel, aluminum, and automobiles. Europe, especially Germany, one of the world's largest car exporters, felt the economic sting of these tariffs. Now, if Trump returns to power, there's a strong possibility that his America First doctrine would reemerge, with even harsher tariffs aimed at European goods. Germany, which relies heavily on its export-driven economy, could be hit hardest. The repercussions would not stop at Germany's borders. The European Union, already struggling with post-Brexit uncertainties, would find itself in a precarious position. How would Europe navigate an economic landscape where its largest trading partner turns hostile? With less access to the American market, Europe could face a prolonged recession, increased unemployment, and a rising tide of nationalism within its borders. Countries like Italy, Spain, and Greece, already dealing with debt crises, could experience a full-blown economic collapse. And with economic turmoil comes political instability. We might see a rise in extremist political movements across Europe, fueled by dissatisfaction with the EU's inability to protect its member states from economic hardship.
We will hire American, buy American, build American, grow American, and show the whole world that the American dream is back.
During Trump's first term, diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Europe often hit rough waters. His administration was marked by friction with key European leaders, particularly German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron. Trump's transactional approach to diplomacy often left Europe feeling alienated and undermined. Remember when Trump suggested buying Greenland from Denmark? Or when he pulled the U.S. out of key global agreements like the Iran nuclear deal and the Paris Climate Accord? leaving Europe scrambling to fill the void? If Trump returns to office, this diplomatic rift could deepen. His go-it-alone strategy might lead to a more fractured transatlantic alliance, where Europe is left to fend for itself on major global issues. Be it managing relations with Russia, dealing with China's growing influence, or addressing climate change. Europe might find itself in a more isolated position, having to rely on regional alliances, or even look towards non-traditional partners like India, Japan, or even Russia. But here's the real question. Could Europe maintain its global influence without the backing of the US? Would we see a shift in the global power dynamic where Europe becomes more of a secondary player on the world stage, overshadowed by the US-China rivalry?
President, I can put no other consideration before the well-being of American citizens. The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States to the exclusive benefit of other countries.
One of Trump's most controversial decisions during his presidency was pulling the US out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Europe, deeply committed to combating climate change, saw this move as a direct threat to global efforts to curb rising temperatures and prevent environmental catastrophe. In a world where Trump is back in power, the global fight against climate change could stall. With the US out of the equation, the burden would fall disproportionately on Europe. Already facing extreme weather events, from the deadly floods in Germany to the devastating wildfires in Greece, Europe would have to tackle the climate crisis without one of the world's biggest carbon emitters on board.
Climate change is real, and that is exacerbating this.
We've had temperatures explode this summer. If we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
I don't think science knows, actually.
The challenge is immense. Can Europe push forward with aggressive climate policies without the US? Or will it be forced to compromise in the face of global inaction? And what happens if Europe is left to deal with the consequences of climate change alone, while Trump's America focuses solely on economic growth at any cost?
I will impose whatever tariffs are required, 100%, 200%, 1,000%. They're not going to sell one car into the United States.
The return of Donald Trump to the White House would undoubtedly send shockwaves through Europe. From weakening military alliances to triggering economic and diplomatic crises, the continent could face unprecedented challenges. But how likely is this scenario? And if it were to happen, could Europe adapt, or would it truly face collapse? Let us know your thoughts. Would Europe survive another Trump presidency? Share your ideas in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and turn on notifications for more in-depth global analysis. Next time, we'll dive deeper into the latest geopolitical challenges facing the world. Stay tuned.
People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
Nation is our canvas, and this country is our masterpiece.